Now, the Southern African Litigation Centre, SALC, has confirmed through a press statement its support for human rights lawyer Sibusiso Nhlabatsi. Nhlabatsi has filed an urgent application in the High Court challenging the Correctional Service's refusal to grant him access to 5 foreign nationals recently deported from the United States to Eswatini. According to SALC, Nhlabatsi was instructed by the foreign nationals' US-based legal representatives to act on their behalf. However, Commissioner General of Correctional Services Phindile Dlamini allegedly denied him the opportunity to consult with his clients who are seeking to challenge their deportation to the kingdom. Nhlabatsi joins me now live for more on this conversation. Good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Firstly, we hear, of course, that there are a number of groups within Eswatini who are against this particular deportation because they cry lack of transparency and accountability as far as this matter is concerned. But your approach to this is a little bit different. How did you get to hear that the inmates themselves are challenging this deportation process?
So good afternoon, Mr. Mhluli. I got a call from an attorney, a colleague in the United States. And initially, he requested me he was representing 2 of the men, one from Vietnam and the other one from Laos. He requested that I go. He gave me instructions to go and see them in prison. So, but not so long after he had called me, I then also got a call from 2 other lawyers for the other men, the one from Cuba, Jamaica, and Yemen. So then last Friday, I then went to the correctional services in Matsapa to go and see this man because I had specific instructions. And I also, because you will recall that by the time they arrived in Eswatini, their attorneys were also concerned about their welfare. They also wanted also to assure them that they are, wherever they are, still trying to help them through the processes they had engaged in.
So what are the issues that you are going to be arguing and the merits thereof?
It's a textbook case, Mr. Mhluli, of legal representation. The Constitution of Eswatini guarantees and protects the rights to legal representation. So if I am instructed to represent people, the prison authorities therefore have no right to deny such access. They have also no right to inquire about the nature of the instruction because such is privileged and confidential. So it's a application in the main seeking me to be allowed access and so that I can consult and convey my instructions to the detainees. And we have put it in the application that if the correctional services insist that they do not want to give us access, then these men should be taken to court and make an appearance for only the specific purposes for me to consult with them.
Yeah. Now, what are the implications should indeed you be granted access to them? I mean, the Department of Homeland Security says these men were convicted of violent crimes so uniquely barbaric that their home countries refused to take them back.
That's just one side of the story, Mr. Mhluli. And these men have not been given an opportunity to also state their side of the story. But I think to define them that way, I think one can only be able to confirm that upon having had consultation with them. And it is also important to also note that these people have served their sentences. Of course, I think it's common cause that they committed crimes and they were convicted and they were sentenced. So they've served their sentences to the fullest. And then to describe them that way, I think it also negates the principle of rehabilitation unless the US says its prisons are incapable of rehabilitating offenders.
Now, I read in one of the reports here that the government of Eswatini, as Thabile Mhluli, has said that the arrest, or at least the incarceration, is not permanent and they will be repatriated in due course to their different countries. So is your application not then premature?
It is not, Mr. Mdluli, because the first question that we should ask ourselves, why are they in the Kingdom of Eswatini in the first place? They've never committed a crime in Eswatini. They've not violated any of Eswatini laws. And what instrument, if I may try to be extreme, that keeps them at the correctional services in a territory where they've never been here. They've never committed crime here. So if you are then saying you're going to put them in perpetual detention of another 12 months, and as I've said earlier, they've already served their sentences. The question is, what are they doing in jail? What are they doing in a custody in Swaziland? Because I think the best way to approach this matter was to try and facilitate a process to return them into their own countries.
Yeah. So where you're sitting now, you would not have had any contact with them at all or any conversation with them at all?
No, I have not, and that's why we eventually brought this application, because I went there on Friday last week, the 25th, and I was denied access. And the explanation that was provided was to the effect that they are still trying processes to ensure that they are able to call home. Apparently, what was explained to me was that the prisons in Swaziland do not have the capacity or the gadgets to be able to make external calls outside of the territory of the kingdom. So they said that they were still working with the telecommunications company to ensure that certain gadgets are put that will enable them to call abroad. So I did not have contact with them. I did not see them. When I went to the prison, I was made to wait for a long time, but eventually I was attended to by the deputy officer in charge, because I think the officer in charge of the prison was not around at the time.
Now, you're saying this is a classic textbook case type situation where you are, I believe, relying on jurisprudence. So there's legal precedence that has been set before that you're going to use in terms of this argument.
Of course, once a lawyer walks into a correctional service facility, he just has to be given access to the client whom he or he says he has been instructed to represent, and not only been given access, also being given privacy so that they can consult adequately. That's why I'm saying it's a textbook case. Every time we do this, this is not the first time I go to the prison facility to see someone, but it's the first time that I'm told that I cannot see them because they are yet to call home. So it's a laughable excuse. That's why we view it to be unlawful, because if you do that, you are then affronting Section 21 of the Constitution of Eswatini that guarantees and protects the right to legal representation and or access.
The Nhlabatsi Correctional Centre itself, what is that facility known for in terms of the prisoners that it keeps?
So it's a central prison, even though I'm not the spokesperson of the correctional services, but it's the prison that has the maximum prison. So if you go to Nhlabatsi prison, you realize that there is the prison, or I can say the main prison. Then it also has the maximum facility where people who are sentenced for a lengthy period of time in the main, I think usually starting from 10 years and above, they are usually kept in that facility. And of course, the people that will find at the maximum prison are those who are accused of committing serious offenses. It can be heinous murder, serial rapists, all those kind of people. That's the sort of characters that you will find in that facility.
Yeah. Now, of course, these are sources in the media, not really proven allegations, but some say these men are being kept in solitary confinement. Some sources are saying the men have access to medical care and they have access to meals and shower and television in their cells. What do you know about that?
No, I cannot confirm that, because, as I've said, I've not seen them, and it can be interesting, though, if I can hear someone saying they have access to medical care. So the kingdom is currently struggling with in the medical space, with hospitals having no medical drugs at all, and Every day the media reports that there are no medical drugs, there are no drugs in the hospitals, in the government hospitals. And to that effect, even Parliament has called upon the Prime Minister to act on and address the issue of the lack of drugs in public hospitals. So it can therefore be interesting that people who have barely had 2 weeks, have been 2 weeks in the kingdom, now have medical care. We are having a health crisis, and I don't think they can have access to that. Perhaps they can have access to a nurse or to a doctor, but not to medical care, because that's different. And I may not know how they stay there and their conditions, but I think the purpose of the application is to have that conversation with them, because if we hear it from the horse's mouth, we can be able to confirm and deny such statements.
Now, from the legal authorities that would have briefed you, what do they know about the agreement that is in place between Washington and the Kingdom of Eswatini? Because it seems the Prime Minister has dismissed these calls that there's some secrecy here surrounding this agreement, saying this agreement is above board.
No, the agreement has been a secret. It has been kept away from the people of Eswatini. I will want to ask you, maybe the Prime Minister is the only one who is aware of the agreement, because Parliament itself has asked the Prime Minister about the agreement. The only thing the Prime Minister has done is issued a statement, and during a press briefing on the 18th of July, if I'm not mistaken, where he said that there was an agreement, he confirmed the agreement, and then he said these deportees are kept in the kingdom at no cost of the government, but no one has had sight of the agreement. And if no one has had sight of the agreement, therefore the agreement was done in secret. And the constitution of the kingdom enjoins the people of Eswatini to be participant in the way they are governed, and at all levels. That's how it's framed. So they have to participate in governance at all levels. The people of Eswatini did not have to read and hear from the South African media and the international media that there are deportees that have arrived in the kingdom before its own government was to inform them. I think that was just a misplaced on the part of the Prime Minister, but to deny that this deal was a secret is laughable, to say the least.
Yeah. Do you believe more deportees could be arriving in Eswatini under similar secretive deals?
The Prime Minister has confirmed that. He has confirmed that more other deportees are coming. Actually, I think there are over 100. But he only then emphasized on the fact that they do not intend to keep them for a long time in the kingdom. So from the body language and from what he has said in his own words and his own expression, we should be expecting more deportees from the United States.
That is Eswatini human rights lawyer, Sibusiso Nhlabatsi. Much appreciated. Thank you very much for coming on this afternoon, taking the correctional services to court, demanding access to the 5 United States criminals. But he says they would have served their sentence now. Ultimately, they're supposed to be free men, but he's been denied access to them. Right.